Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, March 6, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this, what is it, Thursday already? Thursday edition of Weaponized News. Maybe things slowed down a little bit. I don't know. A lot of back and forth in the courts with all these rulings coming out of the Trump administration. We're going to get to that. Like 2 or 3 different rulings as it goes back and forth between the courts, who you can fire, who you can't fire, so on and so on. A lot of reporting about that to get to. Of course, the thumbnail, the very sad, who I have no sympathy for. Sorry, you work for an immoral criminal organization, the government. Sorry you lost your job, but should have thought of that before you went to work for a crime syndicate known as the government. So really don't have a whole lot of sympathy for any fired government. They need to abolish fire the entire government, and Trump resign. Fire Trump too. All of them for what they've done here now. An alleged CIA black site is being reported, found in Virginia domestically here now. Allegedly, the CIA is not supposed to operate black sites domestically. It's reported by Bloomberg. I don't know. Allegedly here. Don't take me to a CIA black site, bro. We got just the more ridiculous theatrics from the Democrats in Congress today, singing "We Shall Overcome" over the censure of Al Green from his outburst during President Trump's address. Just all so ridiculous and stupid. Bring back duels in this nonsense. Tired of this nonsense. Bring back political duels, and then people will watch what they freaking say. Put up or shut up, right? Or what do they say? F around and find out? Well, bring it back. And in this theater of the absurd of nonsense. It's also being reported CIA's fired an unspecified number of new officers. God forbid. God forbid. So what are they saying? Layoff announcements soar to the highest since 2020 as DOGE slashes federal jobs. Not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. What else do we got? We got a lot going on. We got a lot going on with Russia, Ukraine to cover. Skyfield. They're going to try to do, what is it, 100 some odd planes from NATO to defend Ukrainian skies. That's in the friggin' war. Trump says he wants to de-escalate and denuclearize. Says he wants to have denuclearization talks with Russia and China. A good friggin' idea, don't you think? Maybe we should not nuke the world. Might not be a bad idea. I don't know. So a bunch at the EU. Emergency summit in Brussels with Zelensky. It's in the war. In the war. Make the concessions. Supposedly there's going to be more. Supposedly Zelensky's now going to be included in the peace talks in Saudi Arabia with Russia in the next couple of weeks here. It's being reported. Come on, man. In the freaking war. So a bunch of reporting about that to get to. We've got, Aardvarks limit Muslim worship at Al-Aqsa Mosque. And of course, as we continue to report, the Al-Aqsa Mosque is a point of much contention. So we got that, more aardvark news, the hostages, what is going on with this, the back and forth. Gallup poll. You know, I don't like polls very much. I didn't have time to go through the methodology. That's the only way to even know if it's legitimate, but Gallup is supposed to be legitimate. Recent Gallup poll says U.S. sympathy for aardvarks at lowest point in 25 years. And a bunch more. Let's get to this day in history. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in to Weaponized News today. It's just me today. Might go less than 2 hours. Hopefully we can. I'm going to try to get through all this and not rant and rave or anything like that and just blast through this news. Still a lot of news, man. Not as bad as it was the first month of Trump, but still quite a bit. Okay. On this day in history of March 6th, going back to the year 1521, Ferdinand Magellan discovers Guam. I'm sure our audience will like this next one. We're all for equality, equal rights, and all of that. In 1775, on this day, the first black Freemason in North America was initiated in Boston. And so that's a very joyous occasion, being initiated into the secret society of Freemasons for a black man in America. In 1810, Illinois passes the first state miracle legislation in America. And so that's good of the state of Illinois there to be always caring about public safety. In and I didn't know this until I read my This Day in History. Interesting fact about Edgar Allan Poe. In 1831, Edgar Allan Poe, the famous author, poet, American, was court-martialed and dismissed from West Point Military Academy for gross negligence of duty and disobedience of orders. So he wasn't a good order follower. So good for you, Edgar Allan Poe. In 1857, the Dred Scott decision by the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that blacks cannot be U.S. citizens. That's very racist there. They could be Freemasons, but they can't be U.S. citizens. In 1886, the first U.S. alternating current power plant starts in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. In 1899, aspirin is patented by Felix Hoffmann at the later to be Nazi pharmaceutical and chemical company Bayer. In 1902, the U.S. Census Office is created by Congress. In 1918, U.S. naval boat Cyclops disappears in the Bermuda Triangle. How come we don't ever hear about we're not hearing much about the Bermuda Triangle? All my other conspiracy theories already have been proven to be true. We need to bring back some Bermuda Triangle conspiracies, I guess, and prove those ones out next. Because all the other ones, well, I knew they weren't conspiracy theories. They were just historical facts for the under research, let's just say. So let's bring back the Bermuda Triangle. What the hell is going on there? What happened to the naval boat Cyclops in 1918? A still unsolved mystery. In 1944, U.S. begins daylight bombing of Berlin. In 1945, George Neeson patents the trampoline. In 1950, Silly Putty goes on sale for the first time in America. In 1964, boxer Cassius Clay joins the Nation of Islam, changing his name to Muhammad Ali, calling his former title his slave name. And then 3 years later, could it be retribution from the U.S. government? I don't know. Couldn't be a conspiracy against Muhammad Ali, could it? 3 years later, in 1967, Muhammad Ali is ordered by Selective Service to be inducted into military service. Just a coincidence, I'm sure. In 1981, Walter Cronkite signs off as anchor of CBS Evening News. And that's going to be our segue, a little clip from Walter Cronkite. But before we get to that, in 1987, Lethal Weapon was released with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. And my contention is that Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie. Very underreported, underappreciated. Lethal Weapon released on this day. In 1991, George Bush told Congress that aggression is defeated. The war, the Gulf War, is over. In 2017, WikiLeaks publishes Vault 7. Remember Vault 7? We've talked about it many times on this program. Vault 7 is documents from the CIA saying that they can spoof whatever internet address there is and blame a foreign adversary, Russia, China, whoever, on a cyber attack, and you'll never know the difference. So that's out there. And that's old. That's old technology, right? Really old, actually, but they do indeed have that capability. Keep that in mind next time they say, oh, cyber attack from Russia, cyber attack from China. Oh, did you guys use Vault 7? And in 2018, this is tragic. This is quite horrific, and no one gets in trouble. As we've reported here, they pay a fine. Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, they pay a fine and go about as it is just the cost of doing business for big-time drug dealers. But in 2018, the highest overdose rate ever recorded at an estimated 142,000 Americans overdosing between 2016 and 2017. That's as many die in a major war, according to CDC data. So it's worse than that even. It's horrific, man. Don't do drugs, especially the opiates. The opiates are killers, man. All right, so aforementioned, the segue here, before we get into the news, aforementioned Walter Cronkite, right? America's trusted name in news. I don't know if that's what the slogan or tagline was, but anyway, that's back in the day when we had major newspapers, I guess. Well, we did, and we had 3 major broadcast networks, and that was the majority of where Americans were able to get information and news from these sources. And so essentially a monopoly on information from the Mockingbird media. And so in honor of Walter Cronkite, let's play this clip where he admits, and they laugh, but is he really joking? Walter Cronkite at the right hand of Satan. Let's watch this short clip. Is he joking? I kind of have a suspicion he isn't. He's mocking us, but it's up for you to decide.
Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
World government is the structure necessary for global justice.
Most important, we should sign and ratify the Treaty for a Permanent International Criminal Court.
We would like to bring you a message from the First Lady of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Good evening and congratulations, Walter, on receiving the World Federalist Association's Global Governance Award. For more than a generation in America, it wasn't the news until Walter Cronkite told us it was the news.
I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
Walter Cronkite, we are proud to present to you this amethyst geode.
The right hand of Satan.
Well, I mean, he's for world government and he got the Satan Award, so I mean, that's a good guy, right? Must be. Okay, the news. Let's get to the news. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I see we got some chatting going on there, lively as always. Thank you guys for keeping the chat going there. Barry, Ruckus. I saw Sean on the Rockfin. Thank you guys for getting that chat going. It's appreciated. So, is California psycho Gavin Newsom? Is he trying to act like a sane person? We're having a, what did Trump say? We're having a revolution of common sense? I don't know. Gavin Newsom breaks with Democrats on trans athletes in sports. What? Newsom is a political opportunist, and he sees, Politico tells us even. And so I'm shocked, outraged. Gavin Newsom's a bigot against trans now. He had on his new podcast, he had Charlie Kirk of Conservative Inc. on there, so they can control the narrative, of course. But shockingly enough, California Governor Gavin Newsom, a pioneer of LGBTQ plus rights, over the decades, he said in regard to female participation, transgender athletes to participate in female college and youth sports. In regard to this issue, he said that I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. It's deeply unfair, Newsom said in his debut podcast. This is Gavin Newsom. I am not wrestling with the fairness issue. I totally agree with you. And so trying to come back off the ledge of tyranny and insanity that he's created the political environment for here in California. Shocking bigot Gavin Newsom. He's positioning himself because he sees an opening in the Democrat Party. They need leadership, and who else to step up here and act like a moderate now? He's gonna try to come back to the center and act like a moderate. Well, we know you here in California, Gavin Newsom, and we know you're a complete psychopath. But hey, he'll probably fool the rest of the Democrats. He's literally everything the Democrats say they hate: a rich white elitist, allegedly straight, rich white straight male. Literally everything they say they hate. But watch, he's going to be the front man for the Democrats, or at least he's trying to position himself that way here now. Be aware of Gavin Newsom. Okay, and now he's admitted a bigot too against trans athletes. Quite shameful behavior from Gavin Newsom. Okay, what do I bitch about all the time on this show? The censorship from big tech, specifically Alphabet, Google, and on down the line to YouTube, right? Well, I think this is bullshit, honestly. Report out of Politico, though. Jim Jordan, the father of theatrical hearings, exposing everything, but literally nothing ever happens. No one ever gets in trouble. No one goes to jail. I don't think he ever even got anybody fired. Maybe, did he? But he always he runs these hearings with the great soundbite clips you get out of them, and literally nothing ever happens. They expose corruption, A mile-long list of corruption exposed by Jim Jordan, and nothing happens. So, of course, I like this, but do I think anything's going to happen because of it? I'm not holding my breath. They always haul these guys in, and then they lie to Congress right to their face. Nothing happens. They literally laugh and spit in our face. But Jim Jordan continues subpoena spree of social media platforms. The House Judiciary Committee chair is now going after Alphabet. Really? Jim Jordan, chair of the House Judiciary Committee, sent a subpoena to Alphabet, the parent company of Google and YouTube, on Thursday, requesting communications between the company and the executive branch, as well as internal company communications. This move to go after Alphabet is the next step in Jordan's years-long crusade to go after social media platforms for what he says constitutes suppression of conservative speech. After Meta adjusted its own policies in January to respond to concerns from conservatives, Jordan has set his sights on a new target, accusing Alphabet of coordinating with the Biden administration to censor users. Shouldn't it be censor or just outright delete? I guess that is censorship. In a strongly worded letter, I added that part, in a letter reviewed by the Politico, Jim Jordan said documents would inform a legislative response to alleged coordination. Throughout the previous Congress, the committee expressed concerns over YouTube's censorship of conservatives and political speech. It's anything against the current thing. Maybe it's not just conservatives. It's literally anybody that goes against the current thing narrative of the government. But he likes to play the victim as a conservative here, the woke right. Jordan wrote in the letter to Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai, however you say his stupid name, to develop effective legislation such as the possible enactment of new statutory limits on the executive branch's ability to work with big tech to restrict the circulation of content on platform users. The committee must first understand how and to what extent the executive branch coerced and colluded with companies and other intermediaries to censor free speech. Well, I got news for you. They're still, it's the same program. It's the same freaking program. So, like I said, not holding my breath. Why don't they go after them for, you hear here and there, but nothing ever comes of it. And the DOGE is looking into them for antitrust violations. That's where you would really get them. But they got to circle back around and go after the Biden administration. So it's political. And they really don't give a damn about your free speech as an American citizen, your First Amendment right. It's to politicize it and score political points. And it don't matter if they come in there, tell the truth or lie. Nothing ever happens anyway. But it does make for good theater. So continuing here, what are we going to do? Social Security workers aren't allowed to read. They're not allowed to access news websites at work. God forbid. You have to work when you're at work. I know it's tyrannical. Social Security workers aren't allowed to read this story at work. New internet restrictions at the embattled Social Security Administration, a Ponzi scheme, have cut off access to Wired along with other general news websites like Washington Post and the New York Times. God forbid. Here's the story right here. And so employees of the Social Security Administration were informed Thursday morning that new rules forbid them from accessing general news websites, including those which have been at the forefront of reporting on Elon Musk's so-called DOGE effort. EGOD is DOGE spelled backwards, EGOD. And so while I do love the firing of government, we have to realize what's waiting on the other side. Technocracy, scientific dictatorship, technocracy. And if you the initials for that backwards are TDS. So think of that for all the freaking internet riddlers from Q out there on the interwebs. I love this kind of crap. Okay. CDC breaks silence over mystery crying disease that kills you in hours. I don't believe anything they say, but this is what's being reported. From the Daily Mail, the CDC is monitoring a mystery outbreak in the Congo that has killed people within 24 hours of symptoms appearing. Could it be? I don't know. I can't even say what I think it is. I think they're doing experiments there. For one thing, because nobody gives a damn about the blacks in the Congo. Don't they also? They also have them mining. Don't they have the children mining lithium for your Teslas there too? I think so. And so they really, Congo is having a hard time of it because nobody gives a damn how many of them you abuse and exploit and kill. And it's quite horrific, actually. And so I do believe that something mysterious is going on in the Congo, and they're never going to tell us the truth about what it is. But I'm sure we can guess and come up with a pretty good estimation about what is going on there with this crying disease. So that's out there. Watch out for the crying disease. Continuing here. Here is why I'm switching to Democrat now, I guess. And Idiocracy was a documentary. That these are Democrat lawmakers that are well, watch the video. This has convinced me to become a Democrat. What do you even say? What do you even say to Idiocracy clown world? We're there. More proof? Dare you ask for more proof? The U.S. House of Representatives voted to censure Congressman Al Green, Democrat out of Texas, today for disrupting President Trump's address to Congress. The vote was 224 in favor to 198 against, with 10 Democrats. See, those are the, what do they call them? Blue dog Democrats, right? Those are the ones I'm joining because of that promotion video from the Democrat fighters. 10 Democrats joining Republicans in this decision. This formal reprimand requires Green to present himself in the House for the pronouncement of the censure. Egregious behavior. Bring back political duels. And then it would be F around and find out. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, here's the horrific Democrats. This guy's right over the next district from me, Costa. He's a real, I met him in person. He's a piece of shit. The other ones I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They must be thinking that they could be having a challenge from a Republican or something. I don't know. Weird. They hardly ever break ranks. You know what I'm saying? But they did in this instance. Poor Al Green. Here's video of the Democrats breaking out the civil rights era tune, "We Shall Overcome," because of the oppression put upon Al Green by 10 Democrats. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you know? Let's watch this short clip.
Is that he will call Congressman Green to the well. Oh, there we go. Let's listen in.
To answering present. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. Shh. Will Representative Green present himself to the well? By its adoption of House Resolution 189, the House has resolved that Representative Al Green be censured, that Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House will come to order. The House will come to order. What's it? Which
You want to let him keep doing this, or it's only fair?
The House will come to order. Clear the well, please. Clear the well. The House has to continue its business. Just say the House is releasing. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the House will stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
There you go. Systemic racism by the Congress against Al Green there. We shall overcome. And 10 Democrats included. It's just so freaking stupid. Okay, sorry I had to waste your time with that, but okay. Reuters tells the CIA fires unspecified number of new officers. And so what's unspecified? One guy? Who friggin' knows? And what do we do with these spies anyway? What do you do? They're going to go work for private intelligence and be even more unconstrained? I don't know how you could be any more unconstrained, but I'm sure they'll find a way. So, yeah, we don't even know how many. One guy, two guys, women, they, thems, whoever they are. We don't even know. Central Intelligence Agency fired a slew of recent hires this week. And we've seen that the new hires being fired, the first on the chopping block. And so, again, my bleeding heart doesn't go out to you because you should have thought of that before you worked for the biggest criminal organization in the world, the U.S. government. You should have had some morality before that. But I'm sure, like I said, they'll find a spy job in the private sector and be more criminal than ever. So I think these guys will probably land on their feet somewhere. And they won't even tell us how many. And now this shocking, disturbing report, if proven out to be true, audit from the DOGE exposes alleged CIA black site in Virginia. During an audit for property sales, the DOGE inadvertently revealed a location of a suspected CIA black site in Northern Virginia. Social media platforms have erupted with discussions questioning the legality and purpose of such facilities within the United States. The CIA's involvement and the site-specific function remain unconfirmed by official sources. Allegedly, would it really surprise you? You know what I'm saying? Because no one ever gets in trouble for no matter how many crimes they commit in the government. No one ever gets in trouble. So is this really surprising? Not really. It's according to Bloomberg TV. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's alleged. Don't black site me, bro. That would be quite horrific. So is it already Women's History Month? My wife tells me it is. I don't know. I'm contesting her knowledge of Women's History Month. Better watch out with that, right? But Trump declares March Women's History Month. Let's watch this clip. I thought it was already Women's History Month, but hell. Trump's doubling up on Women's History Month. It's run by aliens. Damn. CIA black site in Virginia run by aliens, allegedly being reported in our YouTube chat. May very well be. But aren't aliens demons like Lamb summoned by Aleister Crowley? That looks very similar to a gray alien. Just throwing that out there because there's a very stark similarity between the gray aliens and the image of Lamb, the spirit that was allegedly summoned by Aleister Crowley during one of his black magic rituals. Black site from outer space may very well be. Here's Trump declaring March Women's History Month.
Very special proclamations, the first of which is a proclamation that proclaims March 2025 as Women's History Month in honor of all the wonderful women in your administration, all the wonderful women in America, and in honor of everything you've done for women and this administration has done for women in just, what, a month and a half? So.
Yeah, we've done a lot. And women have done a lot for us, right? This is an honor. We have a wonderful woman here, Maria Bartiromo.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And thanks for all that you're doing for women.
Thank you. She's going to do an interview of me later. Maybe I shouldn't do this interview. I should be like Biden, not do any interviews. That's great. Women, we love you.
We love you too, sir.
Was it? Can the chat tell me? I don't have time to look it up. I think it already was Women's History Month, but whatever, dude. Happy Women's History Month, women. Trump puts new limits on Elon Musk. And they said it's not news until Elon Musk retweets it in the chat. Yeah, may very well be. So Trump puts limits on Musk. Thought I had a Trump convened a meeting with his cabinet and Elon Musk today to clarify that cabinet members, not Musk, hold the authority to hire and fire within their departments. This directive comes in light of legal scrutiny over Musk's influence in federal employment decisions, especially concerning the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, or EGOD. Administration officials confirmed that while Musk can offer recommendations, he does not possess the power to make unilateral decisions on staffing or policy. But it's not news until he retweets it. That's what the chat says. So I guess we didn't elect. I elected Musk. I don't know what. So I guess they're saying we didn't elect Musk now again. I voted for Musk. I don't know. Yeah, so Musk doesn't have the power to hire and fire. Trump said, you're not in charge of your department. You're in charge of your departments, not Musk, told government. Told government officials who are in charge of their departments. That's BS. I put EGOD in charge of all the government. Well, they are putting EGOD in charge of all the government, actually. Okay. Layoff announcement soar to the highest since 2020 as DOGE slashes federal staff. And so I think we reported this yesterday, but U.S. employers announced 172, or maybe we announced the job numbers, but these are layoff numbers. The U.S. employers announced 172,017 layoffs for February, up 245% from January, and the highest monthly count since July of 2020. What happened in 2020 of July? Oh, they locked everything down. Oh, but it's for your own good, right? And they literally laughed in everybody's face. All these government that kept their job, they laughed in your face and oppressed you, and said be part of and force people to take their miracle, and literally laughed in your face and spit in your face. And so call me cruel, but I don't have any sympathy for any of these fools, because they work, as I continue to reiterate, no one can convince me any different ever, that the government is the largest crime syndicate in the world, the U.S. government, the U.S. federal government specifically. And all these people, cry me a river, you're pieces of garbage for even working for such an organization, just in general principle. More than 1/3 of the total came from billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk's efforts to reduce the federal headcount. Federal job cuts announced in February, 62,242. EGOD salute. It's not nearly enough. Again, abolish the entire federal government and fire Trump too, and fire Musk. All of them. All of them. And then I would be happy. So yeah, cry me a river. That's the thumbnail. So sad, so sad. Remember you mocking Joe Blow citizen? Me, you, the audience? They mocked us during the medical intervention period. Remember that? It wasn't that long ago. I know having a memory longer than a day is like a conspiracy theory, but we could pull it all back up again and run through the recent history of it. So yeah, everybody working for the federal government is a disgusting creature that deserves. Remember, it just goes on and on with their mockery of their boss, the taxpayers, American citizens. And so that segue to, I think they lost their role somewhere along the way. I don't know. When did that happen? I don't know. Upon the founding of the country? I don't know. When did such a thing happen? When they seem to have lost their role, or knowing what their role is, and they always tell us, we're humble civil servants serving the public and keeping you safe. Public safety is our number one concern. That's what they constantly brainwash us with. Thank you for your service, sir. They're fighting for our freedom and liberties overseas. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit. Trump era resignation letters take center stage. We will not falter. Listen to this clown. The head of the New York, allegedly, the head of the New York FBI office that's holding up the Epstein documents. This freaking joker. It's like, where do these guys get off? Where is it? It's down here in the story. Here it is. So there's been a bunch of resignation letters feigning outrage because, God forbid, these humble civil servants are being fired or forced to resign. They should be put in prison, honestly, for what all they've done here. But this one specifically stuck out to me because they're just so full of themselves, and they're literal criminals running false flag terrorist attacks, running medical intervention periods, stealing everything they possibly can, fraud, force, coercion. I froze up there. What happened? Hello? Sorry about that. I froze. The government, a criminal racketeering organization, runs through force, fraud, and coercion. Anyway, sorry about that freeze up, or maybe I kept going. Let's take a listen to what old James E. Dennehy the top agent in FBI's New York field office. He said, we will not bend, we will not falter. So literally rogue within a criminal organization, we will not sacrifice what is right for anything or anyone. He told the New York Post or the Washington Post in an email. Just like, where do these freaking clowns get off? Oh, and by the way, I saw, and I didn't even pull up the story, but the stupid propaganda shows for the FBI. There's like FBI are your heroes, all this BS. Those shows got canceled. I think they're on CBS. Good. Cancel all propaganda promoting the liars in the government. They're staging false flag attacks. They're provocateuring events. They're infiltrating any type of grassroots movement that may that they think is a threat to the government, to the powers that be, to the status quo, violating our Bill of Rights and our natural rights across the board. They're more criminal and more tyrannical than any foreign dictator could dream of being. That's your FBI. That's the rest of these clowns in the government that deserve to be disrespected. Draft of Trump executive order aims to eliminate education department. Is this a good thing? On the front end, on his face, I cheered on. On the back end, I say, wait a minute, EGOD's coming in. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? It has to be sorted out, something, because the Federal Department of Education is a complete and utter failure. And it looks like it could be happening right now. I don't know. It's being reported today or tomorrow that Trump's going to sign an executive order to eliminate the Department of Education. Secretary Linda McMahon of World Wrestling fame would be directed to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure. And so I'm torn here. I want to get rid of it, but what is going to take its place and fill the vacuum is the problem, right? And it looks like AI is going to, our EGOD is going to fill the void here. And that's not going to be very nice. But so what do we do? This is all by design, the Great Reset. They've corrupted every institution, destroyed public trust in these institutions. Problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic playing out in front of us over a long period of time. The problem, institutions are corrupt. It gets exposed more and more and more and more. The public cries for, the public has a reaction. Something must be done about these corrupt institutions. The solution, your EGOD, your scientific dictatorship, technocracy. Boom. All planned out, playing us like a fiddle, playing us like chumps. Continuing here. Read this email. Immediately, CDC tells about 180 fired employees to come back to work. And so what's going on here? They're bringing them back. One of the most hateful agencies there are, the CDC. And so they're being immediately called back to work here. 180 CDC workers reinstated and being asked to return to work yesterday, Wednesday. And it's unclear whether the employees would be spared from future widespread job cuts. The CDC is the latest federal agency trying to coax workers to come back to work. Don't come back. Don't come back. They're just playing with you. They're just toying with you. Don't come back. Remember they fired the nuke guys that were in charge of nuclear energy. They had to bring them back. So I don't know why you need to bring CDC back, but they are, sadly. Okay. So Musk doesn't have the power to hire and fire, according to Trump. House Democrats allege Trump's policy aimed to return to the fields. She's a real pistol now, isn't she? Jasmine Crockett. Let's watch this. Representatives Jasmine Crockett and Hank Johnson suggest during a live stream that President Trump's policies aim to revert Black Americans to agricultural labor reminiscent of slavery. Let's watch this short clip.
And as they have decided to go after immigrants and things like that, and they've said, oh, they taking your black jobs. They taking your black jobs. Not really. They are obviously jobs that they want us to go back to, such as work in the fields, all right? Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time. And clearly, he is trying to make us go back to the field.
Trump's trying to push Black people back into slavery. There you go. Jasmine Crockett. Remember she said Trump's Putin's hoe yesterday? We played that clip. She's quite a little firecracker there. Jasmine Crockett. Okay, continuing. Trump suspends clearances of Perkins Coie employees. I know, God forbid, right? Trump signed an executive order which suspends the security clearances for employees at Perkins Coie, a law firm that represented Hillary Clinton's campaign and was involved in the Steele dossier related to allegations of Trump's Russia connections. This order also triggers a review into the practices of several large law firms regarding unlawful diversity, equity, and inclusion incentives. Action is perceived as targeting lawfare and the weaponization of legal practices against political opponents. When's somebody going to get in trouble? When does anybody go to jail?
Has made it a priority both to end lawfare and the weaponization of government, and also to hold those who have engaged in lawfare accountable. One of the law firms that has been involved in that is called Perkins Coie. That's also a law firm that has engaged in unlawful DEI practices. This executive order will suspend security.
And I've watched it take place.
This executive order will suspend security clearances and access to certain federal resources for that law firm, and also launch a holistic review of unlawful DEI practices at some of the nation's largest law firms.
This is an absolute honor to sign. What they've done is it's just terrible. It's weaponization. You could say weaponization against a political opponent, and it should never be allowed to happen again. And you're looking at about 15 different firms?
That or more, sir, yes.
When are they going to go to prison? And the government's been weaponized against you and me, and it will continue to be weaponized against you and me. Maybe it won't be weaponized against Trump anymore, considering the fact that he's now the chief executive of said federal government. But when did I come up with the news, with the name Weaponized News? 2011. Nobody was talking about it then. Nobody was talking about the weaponization of government in 2011, except for me, because I could see the friggin' writing on the wall what they were doing. Okay, here's this back and forth. Court reinstates National Labor Relations Board Chair to her position here. Gwen Wilcox said her firing was illegal. A federal judge ruled. The court ordered her reinstatement, arguing that the president overstepped his constitutional authority. This decision underscores the judiciary's role in checking presidential powers and maintaining the balance of power in the federal criminal government. There she is. So imagine you're such a piece of garbage that you get fired from your federal job, stealing from taxpayers essentially, and a corrupt court and judge rules that you can't be fired. Imagine that. What a freaking racket they have going on in the federal government. Makes you really want to pay more taxes, don't it? But then here's the other side of it. Until it's appealed and on it goes. Dillinger withdraws suit over Trump firing. Remember this guy, Hampton Dellinger? Let me get it right, the spelling. Hampton Dellinger, former head of the U.S. Office of Special Counsel, has withdrawn his legal challenge following a decision by a D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals allowing President Trump to remove him from his position. The court's decision to stay an earlier order by Judge Amy Berman Jackson enabled Trump's immediate firing of Dellinger, reflecting on debates regarding the independence of federal oversight agencies. This guy. So I guess he's accepting it and is withdrawing his, remember he was the special head of the Office of Special Counsel. He's accepted it, apparently. Federal Judge Carl Nicholas denies USAID contractors relief. Remember yesterday they ruled that you had to pay them. The Supreme Court did. This is a different case. In this case, U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols has ruled against an emergency petition by USAID contractors to block their mass termination, stating they did not demonstrate irreparable harm. This decision allows the Trump administration to proceed with plans affecting nearly 800 contractors, impacting the operations of the United States Agency for International Development. Cry me a river again. What do? They go into foreign countries and undermine their own systems, which we have no business in whatsoever, fomenting subversion, fomenting color revolutions, agitprop. Go down the list of bad behaviors to bend foreign countries' will to, quote, Western democracy, to the rules-based international order. And it's in there. It's none of our business. I thought we were for freedom. We're for democracy. But when you vote the wrong way and they see that we don't like what you're doing, then we go ahead and fund a color revolution in your country, as we've seen over and over and over and over again. Or we just do an outright coup against you. And so, yeah, abolish USAID altogether here now. It would be good. So that's good news. I'm not even going to report this one. Let's just say, do we even need rumors to confirm it? It's being, let me word this carefully. It's being alleged on the interwebs through rumor and speculation that Lindsey Graham is involved with the same as him, doing bad things with workers that are selling these services, if you can understand what I'm saying. And is that really any surprise to anybody? There's an alleged whistleblower, male prostitute, that's being reported that's has messages back and forth between him and Graham, allegedly. Again, it's interweb rumors. But would anybody really be surprised? I mean, it's pretty self-evident at this point, right? House reverses Biden's EPA tire and energy rules. The U.S. House of Representatives passed 2 Congressional Review Act resolutions to repeal Biden-era regulations. These regulations impose stricter energy conservation standards on consumer products and emission standards on rubber tire manufacturers, respectively. The vote reflects a contention between environmental regulations and the economic impact on industries and consumer costs. So they say they're reversing Biden's legacy. Rules reversed. They're on 4. The House has reversed, led by Republicans, has reversed 4 Joe Biden era rules or regulations. They're helping. Play that Simpsons meme. I'm helping. Okay, on to the halftime show. Thank you there, Barry, for reminding me. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers there. Right here, the shiny ones for because we're for Pride Month. When does that come? June, I think. So you can go to weaponizednews.com here and get yourself some stickers at the store there. Go to the store. We have other items too. Nobody ever wants a cat tag, a dog tag. We have a few ebooks here, but the stickers right here, best way to spread the word. Clear sticker, holograph sticker, and we have one other one, the white back sticker, and the pins too. So you can support Weaponized News that way, or you can give us a donation. We take donations. We are internet beggars here, but you can donate right here at Weaponized News. Right here, you can push the donate button, and we would appreciate that. And we do appreciate the generous audience donations we've received in the past. But the true campaign is still on YouTube. Maybe if we have peace there, which we can call for every show in the Russia-Ukraine war, not glorifying it at all. It's horrific. Go to our YouTube channel here and give us a subscription if you're on these other channels as we march toward 1,000 subscribers. And we're at, 568 right now. 568 subscribers. As we march toward 1,000, we're still quite a way off there. Again, thank you to everybody who has helped us reach the first tier of YouTube monetization, as we're hung up now due to the Ukraine war, Google Alphabet tells us. But don't you worry, a strongly worded subpoena from Jim Jordan will end their censorship and shenanigans. I'm not holding my breath. But anyway, we continue on with this campaign to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours viewed. We're well past 3,000 now, and we're pretty close to 4,000, I think. So, but help us in these efforts. Go to Weaponized News YouTube channel, scroll to the bottom, and we made it easy to watch 12 documentaries on this playlist right here. You can see documentary playlist about the new world order from the Russian and Chinese perspectives. We have documentaries about BRICS, about the Kazan Declaration, about the new world order in the new era as we march toward a multipolar world, the new nuclear doctrine from Russia and America, and some other very informative documentaries there. And if you've already watched them, push play, mute, and walk away, and let us get those hours viewed. We do appreciate everyone's efforts in this regard toward the campaign to be fully monetized on YouTube someday, some way. Not holding my breath, but I'm sure Jim Jordan will help us out in our efforts as well. Continuing back to the news, Capitol flag ban proposal by Senator Bernie Moreno. Senator Bernie Moreno has introduced an Allegiance Act of 2025. This is comical, right? Aiming to ban the display of foreign flags on U.S. Capitol grounds. Remember this scene? But I think we have an aardvark problem here that is like the elephant in the room on this issue. But remember this, when they did this? But the problem is, the aardvark lobby is so entrenched. We got this, right? We got this going on all over the halls of Congress, thanks to AIPAC and others, right? What's up with that, dude? You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be the elephant in the room on this. But I guess they're cool, right? So every other flag except for theirs needs to be banned. We'll see where this goes. Probably won't make it out of committee, honestly, because of foreign interests. Okay, what is going on? We still don't have a director of the National Institute of Health. This guy that's kind of flowing under the radar, old Jay Bhattacharya, he's ongoing Senate confirmation hearings, and he's outlined goals to foster a culture of scientific dissent and transparency at the NIH. And he's specifically talking about he wants to go ahead and end gain of function research. And so God forbid that we wouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? He plans to end all gain of function research as the head of NIH. This guy. So we need to him in so we could stop blaming Bobby Kennedy for every disease in the world. So we can start blaming this guy. So he's ongoing, kind of flying under the radar. That was Fauci's former position there, NIH head. Or was it? It was, I can't even remember now. I think Fauci was under Collins. I can't even remember all their org chart. But anyway, hopefully he gets confirmed and ends gain of function research. Barry, here's your guy. I know Barry's a big Trudeau supporter. I saw Trudeau signs in his yard, but and he was very sad when Trudeau announced his resignation. I was asking this question yesterday. I remember playing the video like 2 months ago or something, a month and a half ago, of Trudeau saying that he's going to resign. But now today we see a video coming out that says he's saying I'm not going to resign. And so you can bust out that Trudeau yard sign again, Barry. Here's a video of Trudeau. He's going to stay around and fight Trump to save Canada. Let's watch this clip. So a big flip-flop there.
Yesterday, I spoke with President Trump, and I reiterated the facts. Our border is secure, and less than 1% of the illegal fentanyl entering the United States comes from Canada. Even so, we took action with our $1.3 billion plan to further strengthen our border. Canada's ministers, officials, and I will continue to engage with our American counterparts. Our goal remains to get these tariffs, all tariffs, removed. In the meantime, we'll be taking action to support Canadians through the tough times ahead. You can count on leadership right across the country, municipalities, provinces, and indeed, your federal government.
Saving us. Canada can't get rid of this guy. What the hell, Barry? We can't get rid of friggin' Trudeau. This post says Trudeau called Canadians names for 9 years. He arrested peaceful protesters. He has numerous ethics violations and cover-ups of his corruption. He's one of the good guys, and any criticism of him will be punished, rightfully so. More on Canada here. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP, has initiated an investigation into allegations of misconduct within Alberta Health Services. This follows a complaint related to procurement procedures with claims of potential corruption and political interference being highlighted. Premier Danielle Smith has responded by reorganizing health department leadership, but has denied any direct involvement in the contentious contracts. The investigation is ongoing with calls for transparency from various political figures. And so, yeah, God forbid they aren't corrupt. I mean, come on. They should disband the Royal Mounted Police over this, honestly. And because everybody knows there's no corruption in the Canadian government. Continuing here. Trump administration targets migrant families for deportation. This is going to cause some issues, let me tell you. The Trump administration is planning to conduct nationwide operations targeting migrant families, illegal alien families, for deportation who entered the United States illegally with their children. These operations will prioritize families with final deportation orders, aiming to deport entire family units together. This policy shift reflects a change from previous practices where family separation, was more common, now focusing on maintaining family unity during the deportation process. So that's a humanitarian way to deport all of the illegal aliens. There's going to be crying, families in cages. How could you do this? We know the routine already. Okay. On to the economy section. Let's watch Trump. He says, Trump says, I think it's globalists that see how rich our country is going to be, and they don't like it. Talking about the stock market sell-off this week. Let's watch this short clip from Trump.
Mr. President, what are you making of the market sell-off this week?
I think it's globalists that see how rich our country is going to be, and they don't like it. You know, there's a big market out there. But again, they've been ripping off this country for years, and they're going to do great. Everyone's going to do great, but we can't let this continue to happen to America. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country any longer. Thank you very much, everybody.
The globalists, huh? We're rolling back the tariffs? I don't know. This is what Trump had to say today to the very Hispanic president of Mexico, Sheinbaum. Trump said, after speaking with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico, I have agreed that Mexico will not be required to pay tariffs on anything that falls under the USMCA agreement. This agreement is until April 2nd. I did this as an accommodation and out of respect for President Sheinbaum, Hispanic. Our relationship has been a very good one, and we are working hard together on the border, both in terms of stopping illegal aliens from entering the United States and likewise stopping fentanyl. Thank you to President Sheinbaum for your hard work and cooperation. Everybody having meltdowns over the tariffs. It's a bargaining tool. Here's the Trump on the effect of tariffs on the stock market. I'm not even looking at the stock market, he said. Let's watch this short clip from Trump on the tariffs.
But this is something that we have to do. There'll always be a little short-term interruption. I don't think it's going to be big, but the countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what I'm doing. But the United States will be very happy. And, you know, our farmers are going to be very happy. And again, there'll be disruption. But in the end, I said it before with China, we signed an unbelievable deal with China, $50 billion in purchases, and we're doing great. Biden, however, when he came in, they never enforced that deal. So that's the only thing that basically you have globalist companies that have been ripping us off that won't be able to rip us off any longer. I think that's what the big charge is.
Have you been influenced, some of these exemptions that have been announced and some of these temporary delays, have you been influenced in those decisions because of the market reaction?
Well, there are no delays at all. No, nothing to do with the market. I'm not even looking at the market because long term, the United States will be very strong with what's happening here. Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies that have been ripping us off, and no president did anything about it until I came along, and then I did a lot about it. You know, we took in tariffs from China $600 billion. Nobody else took in 10 cents from China. They never did. But when COVID came along, we had to focus on COVID. We did a great job. We got rid of that. We ended up handing over with a market that was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. But this is very much about companies and countries that have ripped off this country, our beloved USA, and they're not going to be ripping us off anymore.
Trump doesn't want to get ripped off. It's BS, man. We like getting ripped off. So Barry says that he has Corbett's book is set to arrive to his house. We're going to have to line up an interview about the book then, I guess, right, Barry? I think so. And then Barry also says, ask Danielle Smith why she is targeting Dr. Mankus for healing people and for exposing child abuse. Well, because that's good things according to the government. And so God forbid you heal anyone of anything ever. And God forbid you don't abuse children. I mean, that's the government, a criminal organization. More on the economy here. Cardano Foundation, the cryptocurrency here. The Cardano Foundation has entered into a strategic partnership with Serpro, Brazil's largest state-owned IT company, to integrate Cardano's blockchain technology into Brazil's government infrastructure. This collaboration aims to enhance security, transparency, and efficiency of digital services across numerous government systems in Brazil. Our EGOD's on the way. Globally here now. U.S. plans largest North American liquefied natural gas facility in Louisiana. The U.S. Department of Energy Secretaries Doug Burgum and Chris Wright announced plans at a Louisiana LNG export facility aimed at enhancing American energy dominance. The initiative involves constructing what would be the largest liquefied natural gas facility in North America in Louisiana. Louisiana is doing some, remember what they're doing a bunch of anti-miracle stuff there too. And they're getting rewarded like this. We need to boycott Louisiana. But continuing, while the project has received support for its potential economic benefits, there remains an undercurrent of discussion regarding its environmental and community impacts. Let's hear from the, they did quite quite a press conference there. Their little sign, let's play a short clip from it. Their little sign, Venture Global. I don't know. That we're against the globalists. I don't know.
What are we doing? Making America great again. Thank you. Way to go, Venture Global. Thank you all.
All right, I thought they were going to say more than that, but I gave you the report anyway. Continuing, Trump to sign executive order crypto policy on agenda. And so it may have happened already. It's on the agenda for today or tomorrow. May have happened. This is an old report, 5 hours old, so it may have happened between now and then. So executive order on cryptocurrency policies. Amid speculation about their content, including potential policies related to cryptocurrency, a slew of executive orders were on the agenda for Trump to sign today. Although rumors suggest orders might establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and possibly address capital gains taxes on cryptocurrency, no official confirmation of the specifics has been provided. So we're awaiting the result of Trump's executive orders on cryptocurrency policy. U.S. trade deficit surges to record ahead of Trump tariffs. Bloomberg tells us here. And so they say the gap in goods and services trade widened 34% from the prior month to $131.4 billion, Commerce Department data showed Thursday today. The deficit was larger than all but one estimate in Bloomberg's survey of economists. The value of imports rose 10%, while exports increased 1.2%. The figures are not adjusted for inflation. Well, kind of bogus. Walmart asked Chinese suppliers for major price cuts for Trump tariffs. Walmart has asked some Chinese suppliers for major price reductions with the U.S. retail giant's efforts to shift the burden of President Trump's tariffs, facing strong pushback from firms in Asian nations. Some suppliers, including producers of kitchenware and clothing, have been asked to lower their prices by as much as 10% to offset the first round of tariffs. Make your stuff in America. That's the whole point of it, right? Act to halt payments to deceased individuals. Senator John Kennedy has introduced an act called Empowering Improper Payments to Deceased People, Ending Improper Payments to Deceased People Act. Let's watch this short clip from him. And they like to make a joke about it too. You see dead people. It's real funny. Somebody's collecting and cashing the checks of deceased people. And so giant fraud is actually what's going on here now. And why we would even need an act for it? Let's hear from Senator Kennedy. He says, during the medical intervention, we sent out $1.4 billion in checks to dead Americans, and they were cashed. I don't know, make a joke about it, pay more taxes.
Quickly, do you think we ought to be sending government checks to dead people?
No, Senator, I think that's poor management.
During the pandemic, we sent out $1.4 billion of checks to dead people, didn't we?
I don't have the figure, Senator, but I wouldn't be surprised by that. Given
and they were cashed, weren't they?
They generally get cash whether they're dead or not.
What does that tell you?
Somebody's live.
Yep. Now, Senator Carper and I passed a bill. It took us 2 years. To try to stop that, when you die, the state sends your name to the Social Security Administration. Your name goes on what's called the Death Master File.
Yes, sir.
I went to Social Security and I said, can I see the list? They said, sure. I said, who do you share this with? They said, nobody. We can't. We don't have statutory authority. So you don't share it with the do not pay folks at Treasury? They said, nope. It's against the law. Well, rather than argue with them, Senator Carper and I passed a bill. But believe it or not, to say Social Security, share the dead people list with the rest of government, for God's sakes. Put down the bone and share it with them. And believe it or not, we had opposition. So we had to agree to a 3-year trial period. That 3-year trial, we've saved a bunch of money. That 3-year trial period is up at the end of 2026. I've got another bill with Gary Peters to extend it, to make it permanent. You guys got any problem with that?
Well, Senator, I cannot speak for the president or for Director Vogt.
Oh, go ahead.
But I can't. It's hard for me to imagine who would be opposed.
He said, "Put down the bong." Oh man, he does have great sound bites, Senator Kennedy there. So I'm being informed in the chat by Ruckus that indeed the crypto executive order was signed. Let me look that up quickly here. And see what I can find for your viewing pleasure. Indeed, reported an hour ago. So we just are barely, it's breaking news, I guess. Trump signs executive order to create strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. EGOD. EGOD indeed. And yeah, I do remember that clip, Ruckus, where they wheel in the dead person or dying, like basically in hospice or whatever, or maybe they were even dead, trying to collect a check for them. And there's a bunch of videos out there. I don't even know what their problem is, making fun of it. Trump sees dead people. Ha ha ha. Nobody's dead people are not getting paid. They're dead. Well, it's like so obtuse because that's not the point and they know it. And everybody should be outraged. Why the hell are somebody's cashing the checks? Their relatives, maybe in small time operations, but there's a larger, giant criminal ring of fraud coming from inside the government that is costing taxpayers billions of dollars. But hell, pay your Social Security. It's a human right to freaking run a Ponzi scheme on you. I mean, Jesus. There's just no end to these bastard criminals stealing from us. So this is going to be interesting to see how this sorts out. The Trump executive order means strategic Bitcoin reserve. The reserve will hold 200,000 Bitcoin as a store of value and will not proceed with premature sales to avoid losing taxpayer value. Bitcoin is extremely volatile. What the hell's the price even? It went from like what 110 high to like 80 or something. So it's what like a friggin' $30,000 swing in a couple weeks. Extremely volatile still. But it is on a steady trend up. And we do have video here. Well, let's play the video of Trump signing this historic executive order establishing strategic Bitcoin reserve. Thank you, EGOD and Elon Musk. Elon Musk is out of Bitcoin though, wasn't he? Remember back, I don't even remember how long it was, but I remember Elon Musk was pumping Bitcoin, if you guys can remember that, if you're old enough to remember that. And he got out of it and went to Dogecoin, remember? But Maybe he's back in. Let's watch the historic signing there. Are they going to give old Ross Ulbricht all his Bitcoin back that the FBI seized? Remember that? I doubt it.
This is a very historic and executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is a promise that you made throughout the campaign, and today we're keeping that promise. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin that the federal government already owns, so it won't cost taxpayers a dime. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. And premature sales of Bitcoin over the past years cost American taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value because we didn't have a long-term strategy.
Right.
Now we do. So.
And this is something you believe in?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And they made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
So there it is. Denver's telling us that, yeah, we reported on that old, that BlackRock bought the 2 ports at both ends of the Panama Canal. So they're the good guys. We reported they're not woke anymore. So that BlackRock's the good guys. Know what I'm saying? Continuing here, Treasury Secretary Bessette. I got to get through it, man. We still got a lot of news. Bessette on American Dream beyond cheap goods. And so U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has ignited a debate by stating that the American dream is not centered around access to cheap goods, but rather on achieving prosperity, upward mobility, and economic security. I don't know why that sparked an outrage. Backstopping the tariffs on cheap goods from China and other junk goods that honestly we don't even need. I guess you need some of them but I would have to agree with old Secretary of the Treasury there. Okay, continuing. We're going way over here too long, and I still have a lot of news to get to. Thomas Massey, and who is it? Massey and Lee, I guess Mike Lee, Senator. They've introduced a bill, H.R. 1846, titled the Federal Reserve Board Abolition Act. Yeah, it is Senator Mike Lee here out of Utah. And so here it is. Can we abolish the Federal Reserve? Call me skeptical. I seriously doubt it's going to get the votes. Federal Reserve System, where does it say? To repeal the Federal Reserve Act. Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know, Congress has had the power the entire time to get our monetary system straight, but why would they ever want to when they have a gravy train of money laundering going on here with the Federal Reserve System as it is, the status quo, devaluing your purchasing power, putting you in poverty, taxing you into oblivion as they live like kings. And so literally Congress has no incentive to abolish the Federal Reserve central banking system. That's private, quasi-governmental, they tell us. And so I really don't see this going anywhere. I guess I do appreciate the effort, but more theater here, I suppose. Okay, let's get to the where we got a half hour left before we go over 2 hours. I didn't want to do 2 hours today, but a lot to get to as always here as Trump is keeping us busy. So the back and forth, on again, off again, peace talks with Ukraine, Russia. We want peace here at Weaponized News. Stop killing each other. So you got a bunch of European leaders mouthing off. Here's Trump mouthing off. Trump says it's common sense for U.S. policy to not defend NATO countries that don't pay. Let's watch this short clip. Trump has been a long advocate of making NATO at least pay their fair share.
To be looking for.
President Trump, on Peter's question, are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think it's common sense, right? If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them. No, I'm not going to defend them. I got into a lot of heat when I said that. You said, oh, he's violating NATO.
So Barry says, we'll put it on the screen here. Barry says, if y'all do not know what an oracle or sidechain is, you soon will, to connect all your data. Well, yeah, they're keeping us safe, Barry. I mean, and of course, it would never be hacked, all your data, centralized in one location by bad actors. Government would never use that data against you. It's all for our own good and safety, and it's totally secure. State Department briefing resumes under Tammy Bruce. And so we can look forward to propaganda and lies about our overseas adventures from the State Department, from this new propagandist woman. She's been around in the media a long time, Tammy Bruce, quote, conservative commentator. And so now she's a propagandist for the State Department. So moving up in the world there, telling lies officially for the government. And so she moved out of the private sector lying game into the public sector lying game. And so we do look forward to briefings from Tammy Bruce at the State Department. Continuing here. Trump's NATO policy shift, defense tied to spending. He said it in that clip. Yeah, if they don't pay, he's been saying it. That's like a broken record with Trump. If NATO doesn't pay its fair share, then we're not going to be defending you. I think it's fair. We should abolish NATO, actually. It's a relic of the Cold War. But there's too many vested interests that rely on the status quo. They're going to kick and scream, and they want war. They want a perpetual war to fund the military-industrial complex, to fund the bankers on both sides of these wars that profit off of killing people. It's horrific in the wars, in NATO. U.S. conditions, Ukraine minerals deal on ceasefire. The United States has proposed a minerals deal, which we've been reporting on here, with Ukraine, contingent upon Ukraine agreeing to a quick ceasefire with Russia. Please. This proposal comes amidst ongoing discussions between the United States and Ukraine, with President Trump reportedly pushing for immediate peace negotiations as part of the deal. It was on again one day. It was off again. It was on again. It was off again. So it's back and forth. I guess it's part of the negotiations. We need a peace deal. We need a ceasefire. We need them to draw up the agreement. Both sides, Russia and Ukraine, are going to have to make concessions. It's none of our business, even, for God's sake. It's none of America's business in the first place. But I guess we made it our business. And so now it is our business. But don't you worry, all that funding comes back to America, weapons manufacturers. And so it's all good, right? That's what they told us. So let's have a peace deal here. It's on again, off again, on again, off again. Trump plans Saudi Arabia visit to have another meeting about it. Maybe they can hammer something out there. Trump has announced plans to travel to Saudi Arabia within the next month and a half. The trip is expected to involve significant diplomatic engagements, including a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, the worst man in the world, alongside discussions aimed at fostering large-scale economic investments from Saudi Arabia to the United States. Keith Kellogg, former envoy to Ukraine under President Trump, has sparked some controversy on the interwebs by describing the U.S. decision to cut off military aid and intelligence sharing as akin to hitting a mule with a 2x4 to get its attention, because old Zelensky is a stubborn mule when it comes to negotiations is the metaphor he was using to describe said peace negotiations that are on again, off again, on again, off again. And so, yeah, the best way to describe it, these negotiations, or why the United States is withdrawing military aid and intelligence, again, is akin to hitting a mule with a 2x4 to get its attention. Zelensky. EU shows unity for Ukraine at emergency summit. And so there was an emergency summit today in Brussels to discuss further support for Ukraine. And so we're like really split on this whole thing. Well, here's the European leaders. They love the war and want to keep going. Truly, truly sad, honestly.
The new Prime Minister
Truly disgusting there. Celebration of corruption and death and war. It's quite disturbing indeed. Macron, former Rothschild banker, president of France, has announced plans for strategic discussions on how France's nuclear capabilities could extend to protect European allies amid growing security concerns due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Saber rattling by Macron. Sky Shield. European leaders push for Sky Shield over Ukraine. A proposed European initiative named Sky Shield aims to deploy 120 fighter jets to protect Ukrainian airspace from Russian missile attacks. This plan, separate from NATO operations, is it separate really? Seeks to provide a practical security guarantee for Ukraine without escalating tensions with Russia. Are tensions going to escalate? Your fighter jets are in Ukrainian airspace fighting. You're basically going to war with Russia here, directly here now, ending the indirect proxy war and just going full on direct war with Russia via Operation Sky Shield. In the freaking war, man. Italian Prime Minister Meloni has proposed extending NATO's Article 5 protections to Ukraine without granting the country's full NATO membership. That's illegal. Who cares? You know what I mean? Who freaking cares what's legal, what's not legal, what's in writing? Russia's bad, Putin's bad, man. And so anything into the world, World War III, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? It's worth it. It's worth it to stop the evil bad man Putin. So they're doing big time saber rattling. I don't see how this could ever happen, but who knows? They're corrupt maniacs, so anything could happen at this point. Musk, for all his faults, is calling for peace. Elon Musk has publicly criticized the notion of a forever war in Ukraine. And he's right about this. They want a forever war. How many more parents without sons? How many more children without fathers? He says, by their logic, it never ends. Yeah. They want it to go on forever. Of course. But they're now escalating the situation, saber rattling, with threats of nukes from France and threats of NATO intervention from Italy. And rolling out Sky Shield on top of it. So the EU here is escalating quite a bit, I would say. Musk urges election in Ukraine amidst war. And so he's not wrong about that either. Ukraine needs to hold an election. I don't know if Zelensky would lose or not, but Musk went on to say Zelensky would lose in a landslide. I don't know. Maybe Ukrainian people do love war. I think it's the same as every place, though. The rich are out partying and basically oblivious to the whole thing. And the poor go and die in muddy trenches. And that's the reality of all of these wars. So Elon Musk has publicly called for Ukraine to hold elections, suggesting that President Vladimir Zelensky would lose significantly. This statement comes despite Ukraine's current martial law, which legally prohibits elections during wartime. Zelensky is the greatest democratically elected president in the history of the world, and he's not a dictator, even though he has the country under martial law. And so in our satanic inversion of reality, Ukraine's the greatest democracy the world's ever known. Thank you. Okay, wrapping it up here. I blasted through that. I had more clips, but what the hell? I think we got the gist of it. EU is saber rattling big time and looking to escalate and not de-escalate. Let's hope it's just saber rattling. And Trump and America can bring them all to the table here now. Maybe they'll include Zelensky this time after hitting him in the head like a mule with a 2x4. And maybe he'll come to the negotiating table there in Saudi Arabia with Russia and the most evil man in the world, Putin. And maybe they can come to a peace agreement. We're praying for that, please. Okay, continuing on to the greater Aardvark region, Aardvark land. We save Aardvarks for last, as usual. Iran's no pretty place, right? Iranian singer whipped 74 times for song calling for removal of women's headscarves there. And so it's pretty tyrannical in Iran as well. So here's the Aardvark Times giving us that report. Defiant after punishment, saying he is willing to pay for the price for freedom. Flogging draws uproar from political dissidents in Iran. This guy right here, Mehdi Urahiri, I can't even pronounce his name, butchered his name again. So a prominent Iranian pop star who made a song urging women to remove their headscarves said Wednesday that he was willing to pay a price for freedom after being flogged 74 times by authorities as part of his sentence. It is Women's History Month. I don't think Iran is celebrating Women's History Month. Aardvarks limit Muslim worship at Alaska Mosque by age during Ramadan. So they're constantly poking them here, provoking them at the Alaska Mosque. Quite a point of contention there. Aardvarks will permit Muslims over 50 and their children from the occupied West Bank to enter Jerusalem's Alaska Mosque compound on Friday during Islam's holy month of Ramadan, Bibi said today. A statement said a limited number of Muslim worshippers would be admitted in line with last year's agreement starting tomorrow, or maybe it's today by now. There's you can go watch the they have a They have a webcam fixed on it. I think maybe I've showed it on the show before. I don't know, but and why it's so significant, the Al-Aqsa Mosque lies at the heart of Jerusalem's old city on the hill, known to aardvarks as Har Ha-Bayit, or Temple Mound, and to Muslims internationally as Al-Haram al-Sharif, or the Noble Sanctuary. Muslims regard the site as the third holiest in Islam after Mecca and Medina. Al-Aqsa is the name given to the whole compound and is home to two Muslim holy places, the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, also known as Qibla Mosque, which was built in the 8th century. This week is the first Friday in the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan. So, as we continue to report here, they want to get rid of that mosque and build a third temple, Solomon's third temple, and bring about the Armageddon, is what some religious extremists are praying right now to happen, to allegedly fulfill biblical prophecy and bring about the second coming and the Antichrist and the tribulation and so on and so on. And so back and forth between Trump and Hamas, allegedly Hamas. I'm still saying they're Western intelligence run, at least. So we reported yesterday, Trump said, release the hostages or you're going to have hell to pay. And they say, no, we're not releasing the hostages unless the ceasefire continues. So we're going to see how that sorts out. I don't think they ever cared about a ceasefire. Let's play this quick clip. Flashback: all wars begin with false flags. Pro-aardvark think tank lobbyist Patrick Clausen in 2012 speaks of crisis initiation and alludes to many of the historical wars involving the United States, admitting that many of them traditionally began with false flag events. The traditional way America gets to war is what would be best for U.S. interests. So if in fact the Iranians aren't going to compromise, it would be best if somebody else started the war. Let's watch this short clip. Very telling.
I frankly think that crisis initiation is really tough. And it's very hard for me to see how the United States president can get us to war with Iran. Which leads me to conclude that if, in fact, compromise is not coming, that the traditional way of America gets to war is what would be best for U.S. interests. Some people might think that Mr. Roosevelt wanted to get us into World War II, as David mentioned. You may recall we had to wait for Pearl Harbor. Some people might think Mr. Wilson wanted to get us into World War I. You may recall he had to wait for the Lusitania episode. Some people might think that Mr. Johnson wanted to send troops to Vietnam. You may recall we had to wait for the Gulf of Tonkin episode. We didn't go to war with Spain until the until the Maine exploded. And may I point out that Mr. Lincoln did not feel he could call out the Federal Army until Fort Sumter was attacked, which is why he ordered the commander at Fort Sumter to do exactly that thing which the South Carolinians had said would cause an attack. So if, in fact, the Iranians aren't going to compromise, it would be best if somebody else started the war. Look, the sanctions are starting to bite on Iran's economy. And we are going to learn before too long how much priority the Supreme Leader places on that. And it is distinctly possible that he would be prepared to see Iran become North Korea. That may be a desirable model for him. I don't think it's a desirable model for the Iranian people at all. I don't think that's what they want. And I think he'd face a lot of resistance if he tried to push that idea through. But that is possible. I mean, this is a man who seems to place such high priority on revolutionary fervor. And we will find that out. I don't know. But I would just like to suggest that one can combine other means of pressure with sanctions. I mentioned that explosion on August 17th. We could step up the pressure. I mean, look, people, Iranian submarines periodically go down. Someday one of them might not come up. Who would know why? We can do a variety of things if we wish to increase the pressure. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just suggesting that this is not a either-or proposition of, it's just sanctions has to succeed or other things. We are in the game of using covert means against the Iranians. We could get nastier at that.
Yeah, that guy Denver is a real wise guy, isn't he? Patrick Clausen in 2012 admitting, which should be known. I think our audience knows that. Yeah, all these wars are fake. Not faking the fact that they didn't happen, but faking the fact that it's all been engineered to get the American people behind it, which don't want to go to any wars because we're sick and tired of our sons and daughters and mothers and fathers dying overseas for the military industrial complex and the central banking cartel. War's a racket, like Smedley Butler told us way back when. It'd be good to remember that. And I don't see any patriotic conservatives in the media ever talk about Smedley Butler. They're fighting for your freedom. Thank you for your service. Total bullshit. Back to the chat. Denver says, if Trump brings peace, doesn't that make him the Antichrist according or suggested by some scriptures or some interpretation, as effed up as that is? I just don't. Too many people hate Trump, and it doesn't matter if he brings world peace, cures cancer, whatever. You know what I mean? Just too many people hate Trump, and the Antichrist is supposed to be loved by all, right? So I just don't see Trump fitting that role. Maybe if they put a divine intervention, right, and a spell is cast across people's minds, people are put under mind control, hypnotism. I don't know. Anything's possible. Anything's possible, but I just don't see Trump fitting that role as Antichrist, honestly. And they're just too damn. The aardvarks are not giving up, no matter what. They've already said that. What is it, the Samson doctrine? If they believe they're going to be overrun by Muslims, they'll just nuke the whole damn place, right? That's like established doctrine that they will go ahead and do. So I mean, they're steadfast in the greater Aardvark land project and beyond, with Aardvark supremacy in mind. And if along the way we can fulfill the Armageddon, then, but I just don't see Trump filling that role. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's just too many people that don't like him, that hate him, actually, largely because of hoaxes. I wish they would hate him for the right reasons. Actually, I don't wish they would hate him. I wish that we would get it together and just stop all the double dealing, corrupt BS, man. But obviously that's wishful thinking now, isn't it? Okay, a couple more stories and I'm going to wrap it up here on this Thursday edition of Weaponized News. So as I stated at the beginning here, U.S. sympathy for aardvarks at lowest point in 25 years. A recent Gallup poll indicates a significant shift in American sympathies regarding the, they call it Middle East conflict, I would call it genocide, operation there for greater aardvark land real estate redevelopment program. Support for aardvarks has dropped to the lowest level in over 25 years, with only 46% of Americans sympathizing with aardvarks compared to 33% there in the audience, 33% sympathizing with the Palestinians. Among Democrats, the shift is even more pronounced, with 59% sympathizing with Palestinians and only 21% sympathizing with aardvarks. Yeah, I don't know. Do we put much stock in this poll? I don't think we can, but anyway. Have some sympathy for the aardvarks, man. That's valuable real estate right there. And they got to take it. And don't forget the oil that was discovered there. And there's a lot. And we just got to get rid of these pesky Palestinians so we can redevelop Trump Gaza there, right? Right. So have some sympathy for the devil, man, like the Rolling Stones said. Okay, moving on to, let's wrap it up here with Candace Owens. She calls out the hypocrisy of Trump's America First while continuing to make exceptions for aardvarks. Let's watch this short clip. Nah, maybe not. You can go see it. I don't think we will play it, as we're at the 2-hour mark here now. We're going to wrap up this broadcast. Again, we're going to close out with Scott Armstrong as we play his whole album here. It's a good time to close out because my computer's freezing up here. There we go. So I'm going to close out with Scott Armstrong, a song from his album, Universal Basic Awesome. And it's Make It Easy is the, and it's official music video by Scott Armstrong of Rebunked News, who we had on Monday. Let me go to the channels here. Check out the chats briefly before we wrap up the broadcast. Yeah, shout out to the Odyssey audience. Barry, Huffman, Bob. Thank you, gentlemen, for keeping that. Highland, thank you for keeping that chat going there on the Odyssey. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know, Barry. I saw that Trudeau sign in your yard. Just kidding. You should run for that crime czar or whatever it's called, crime commissioner. I'll campaign for you. I don't know how it is, but see, it's probably rigged the same in Canada. I'm not really up on the intricacies of Canadian politics, but it's like near impossible here in America to win unless you have the endorsement and money backing of one of the two major political parties. I assume it's probably the same there in Canada. So you basically have to sell your soul to Satan to even have a chance. But people do use running for public office as a platform to bring forth important issues, which hey, I support everybody doing it because it takes a lot of time, effort, energy, and money, and putting your face out there publicly to commit to such a task that is a fool's errand in my mind. But like I said, it does give you a public platform to, unless they just outright ignore you, like has been the case here in America for many candidates that the media won't even cover because they're bringing up real issues, right? So they're like, you're not even running. We'll just ignore you. Lies through omission, act like you don't even exist, right? Yeah. Barry said, I'd run like Kokesh did, bankruptcy trustee, abolition of taxation, sell the federal buildings and collapse it all. Well, we need a controlled winding down. So yeah, and then abolish it all and then resign and then say, yeah, that would be the moral thing to do now, wouldn't it? Indeed, it would. Thank you, Barry. What does Huffman say? BBC media action, running interference, no doubt. Thank you guys for chatting it up on the BitChute, or on the Odyssey, excuse me. The Rumble, we always have quite a chat over there. And thank you, Carrie, for sending me the stories. I did see both of the stories that you sent me today. There's Americans being found dead with their hands chopped off in Mexico. It's quite horrific. That's not mentioned by Trump, funny enough. So we got Barry, Karen, Ruckus, Chloe, Gunther, Carrie. Hello, Carrie. Chatting it up well there. Carrie says, in Japanese cabbage prices up 2.5 times because of weather, vegetables have increased imports, increasing significantly from China. Japanese cabbage is very good for your stomach, actually. I do enjoy Japanese cabbage. I think I got some from Korea, from South Korea, when I was having some stomach issues, and it healed me, honestly. Not giving medical advice, God forbid. I guess they say you can give firsthand testimony, and I was having some stomach issues during the medical intervention because of the anger. I think a lot of it was due to anger, because I was so mad. I was so freaking mad, like the first year and a half of it, because not only at the government, that's like a given, they're tyrannical maniacs, but at the general public for going along with it. I had so much hate in my heart for the general public who I would see driving in their car alone wearing a mask. And it was relentless propaganda here in California, where I live. And I had hate in my heart for people I didn't even know in the general public. And I had to pray. And I think it gave me a friggin' ulcer, actually. But I was having stomach issues, and I had this hate in my heart for people I didn't even know. And I prayed on it, and finally was relieved of it. But I also took cabbage. I think it was from South Korea, actually, but I'm sure Japanese cabbage would do the trick too. Anyway, Musk isn't a U.S. citizen. Don't be racist to Africans, Kerry. All right. Let's see here. D's Nuts checked in on Rumble, says Crockett is the epitome of ghetto fabulous. I know, that's why she has my support 100%. Wow, you're doing good on your electricity bill, Carrie. Never got my stickers. You know what, Carrie? That's my bad. I'm going to resend them to you. I actually got returned to sender. I don't think I put enough postage on it. I do deeply apologize, and I have the return because I sent it to my office address, and the mail there is very slow, or actually the mailman getting it back to me. I will resend it to you. You have my commitment. There, it's my bad. Again, I didn't put enough postage on it, but I'm going to try to get it out in the next couple of days to you again with the correct postage, Carrie. Apologies. That's my bad. I screwed it up. What else do we got here? Carrie's going to listen to LaRouche Foundation. We need to find some more LaRouche lectures and play those at the end. Some of it's really good. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble platform and keeping that chat lively. Over to the Rockfin. Who do we got on Rockfin? We got Sean. Thank you, Sean, for firing it up today. Who's ahead of Barry today? Denver, DT, Octo. Keeping the chat going there. Quite lively. again, yeah, the opiate crisis, quite horrific there. J&J, McKinsey and Company. No one gets in trouble. D2T says opiates are great till they're not. Yeah. Don't do drugs, kids. They're not great. When we hit buffering here, we run for the bunkers. When we hit T-Lab buffering, we run for the bunkers on the old Rockfin. Paul Janssen founded Janssen in 1953. Johnson & Johnson purchased Janssen in 1961. Fentanyl is made by several companies in many forms. Yeah, they're good guys. I don't know why we're complaining. How many was the overdose deaths? It was, 142,000? I have a lot of notes here. Where's my, did I say it was? 142,000 in 2018 between 2016 and 2017. It's freaking horrific. Quite horrific. Good chat you guys got going there. Hemp Car, Brian hopping in there. Brian Sumner. Hemp Car spoke there at least once with frontline doctors, speaking out against, yeah. What all they've done, what all we put up with here. It's quite incredible, isn't it? We're still here. We're still here somehow, some way, praising the government. Government's our Lord and Savior, right? Trump's our Savior. He may be the Antichrist. What do I know? I don't know. I just think there's too many people that hate him for him to fill that role. But who knows? We could have divine intervention. If it's truly supernatural prophecy fulfilled, then anything can happen. But if it's a scam, which I suspect it is, then it's just not going to happen. But we'll have to wait and see, as they say. Thank you guys for the good chat on the Rockfin platform. The old BitChute. Are there people tuning into BitChute? I don't know. Let's take a look. A couple people on the BitChute. Thank you for tuning in on the BitChute. We appreciate your viewership over there. Thank you for keeping the chat lively going on the YouTube and the Facebook. Not much chat on the Facebook except for Barry. A couple people pop in here and then, but the YouTube, thank you guys for keeping that chat going. What does Young say? The ones that think they hate him have been programmed to do so. So enough, they will be reprogrammed. Maybe it's already happening with controlled demolition of the left wing. Maybe all they got to do is reprogram the mind control, and they'll buy the current thing, right? And so the current thing says, the television says Trump's freaking awesome now, and all will love him. Maybe. Aardvarks are not as cuddly as puppies or kittens. Well, I'd have to disagree there. I'd have to disagree, Denver. I did interview Kokesh back in the day there, Barry. And he actually came to Fresno, and there used to be video on my YouTube until they deleted it. And he gave a talk about his book Freedom when it came out. He's kind of gone under the radar and off the grid, and I don't blame him, honestly. He's living his life. He did a lot of good work, I would say. And Barry's last words. Well, let's see what you got there, Barry. My Gab link is deleted on Massey. Why did they delete your Gab link? he asked me to speak as a delegate. That's pretty good. That's good work, Barry. All right. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and liberty. Thank you for tuning in to this Thursday edition of Weaponized News. We'll be back here tomorrow with Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy to go through the news and inform you about the events of the day. Let's pray for peace. Let's remember Simon is in bad shape still with a chronic health condition. And so let's pray for Simon's health. Let's pray for peace in all over the world, but especially Ukraine, Russia, and Aardvark land genocide. Let's pray they wind it down. I'm not holding my breath that they're going to wind it down there. It seems they're committed to the program. But hey, if Trump is the Antichrist, then hey, everything could change. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And I think, did I already say it? Anyway, do your own research. Peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening. And here's Scott Armstrong, Make It Easy to Play It Out, from his album Universal Basic Awesome. Everybody go to his website if you're interested in supporting like-minded patriots out there, rebunkedrecords.com. And I think he has the hard copy. You can buy the digital copies here or buy the hard copy. You might want to get the hard copy from him. They may just, delete the internet sometime soon. Make It Easy, playing us out here by Scott Armstrong.
But this beat's too funky to just let it go away. So I'm just gonna play it out like this while I drive east. Peace out.